This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. As always, I am joined by my co-hosts Nancy and Andres. How are you guys on this fine Sunday afternoon?
Doing good. Got my Frappuccino. I'm also noticing I got to put a background again. It just looks like I'm in the void. Just like,
the void.
Floating.
I'm surprised you're not using that like grand piano background.
Yeah. I have to get my actual, but I liked when I had my little Christmas tarp up. That was cute.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. A little Christmas in July situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking about Christmas in July, I am doing fantastically well right now, guys, as we're about to maybe talk a little further into the episode. But overall, it's been a good weekend so far. Me and the family, we actually went to go see a Beatles cover band last night, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Tom? And then yesterday we had our yearly beer Olympics at the Chattel Bash household, which was super fun. The theme was decades, so everyone came dressed in a different decade. My team was like 80s horror, so like I was Freddy Krueger, and then my two buddies were from the Jason movies, and then one of my buddies dressed up as like Michael Myers with the mask and everything. My favorite bit of that is that at the end of the day, when he got into an Uber, he had the mask on, and the guy had like the guy asked him to take it off, and my buddy texts me and he's just like, so I got into the Uber with the mask on. My driver did not have a sense of humor.
I mean, I get it.
I get it. You're seeing a Michael Myers mask in July. Maybe not the best look.
Yeah. And you never know who gets in your car.
Yeah, and also as a former Lyft and Uber driver myself, it's one of those things where you're like, you just see all those stories pop up on Facebook and Instagram of like, people holding up the car and shit like that. It's like, yeah, it happens far too often that like, listen, if someone walks into your car wearing a mask, it's like, yeah, that's tough.
It's like, I need to be able to identify you to the police if I need to.
What do you look like? Michael Myers?
Go find that. Now the question is, did you keep the Freddy claws on while you were playing?
No, it was on my dominant hand, so there was just no shot that was going to work. But it was fun wearing it.
All right, now how many times did you say "bitch" all throughout the entire thing with the mask?
I think it was only a couple of times. I was pretty reserved about it.
Kept it respectful, Freddy.
But the headline was that our team won, which was pretty great.
Woo! Congrats.
And then the other decades were fun. There was like the 40s BCE. There was the 1770s, and then there was the 1970s.
Oh, that's funny.
So like the costumes are great. It was a very good time.
Cool.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a pretty fun beer Olympics. I mean, like how we were talking right before we went live, but like just the shit that we were going through back in college, back in the day. It was more like, how much physical pain could we put ourselves through in terms of how much beer we can consume in a very short amount of time? And like, there was no theme. It was just like, let's just do it. Some random weekend.
Yeah, that's college.
Beer Olympics sounds fun. I just feel like I can't even drink that much water. I can't even imagine.
No, most people have to either like switch to water halfway through, and then it's just funny seeing teams dwindle because people get too drunk. We had a team of 5. Now we're a team of 2. It's funny. It's almost like a game of Survivor by the end, essentially.
Well, honestly, if we're ever in the area when this happens, you'll have to.
100%. It'd be fun. Yeah. It'd be a lot of fun. But speaking of fun, we got a lot of fun topics to talk about today. And obviously, we got our big movie to talk about in Superman. But before we jump into that main topic, that main review, we got a couple trailers to talk about. But we also have a big piece of news to cover, which happened in the interim between our episodes. And that was the announcement that director Denis Villeneuve is going to be the director of the next James Bond movie for Amazon MGM. What do we think about this choice? Are we excited? Are we kind of on the fence about it? Do we not like it at all? Nancy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm on the fence. Obviously, he's a great director with Dune. He's done a fantastic job. My only thing is, in general, it feels like we had the death of Bond and like his eulogy at the Oscars, and it feels weird to be jumping back into the franchise. And so I think that's my only worry, is that it's a tricky situation for him to be in. Even though he's a fantastic director, it's a weird spot for the franchise in general. If anyone could do it, maybe him. He's had some fantastic movies, but it's just a weird spot. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
On the fence. Okay. Andre?
I think this is less about what Denis Villeneuve is going to bring to the franchise, because I have full confidence in him being able to bring something new and bring something exciting and bring something that will get people to go to the movies again, with Villeneuve being as much of a proponent of the theatrical experience as much as he's been with the past two Dune movies. And also now he's going into production of Dune Messiah. Like, I have a feeling he's going to give us a Bond that is worthwhile to be on the screen. The only question I have is, what is Bond going to look like in the Amazon era? So it is one of those things where it's like, the Broccoli's have held on to this franchise for so long, and this is going to be the first time in damn near 60 years that they're not going to be a part of this whatsoever. And that frankly has me a little concerned. So, I think Villeneuve is a great choice. I think he's going to do something really fantastic. My curiosity is, how much is Amazon going to get in his way, and will Amazon kind of stoop him on the theatrical experience? That is my only thing. But Villeneuve is a great choice, and this is not also the first time that he's brought back a franchise that has kind of been like a legacy type of thing. I mean, people go, "Oh, that original Dune." Like that original Dune movie. I choked on my own words.
Breathe.
Don't you hate that when you can tell either a burp is coming or you're just running out of air and you're like, maybe this will work?
Oh, yeah. It did work.
It did not.
It did not work.
Yeah. No. But the thing is that this is not necessarily the first time that Villeneuve has kind of brought back a franchise. With Dune, he brought back something new to it as well. And then also Blade Runner 2049. I mean, that movie had no right to be nearly as good as it turned out to be. And I think Villeneuve is up to the task of bringing something great to the franchise. So I'm personally excited to see what he does. But frankly, I'm also very cautious about what Amazon's going to bring to the table on this front.
Yeah, I mean, I think more so than anything, I'm excited at the possibility of like what his Bond movie could look like. I mean, this is one of those rare cases where like a fan pick has actually like come to fruition, because his name has been floating around for like dream directors to do a Bond movie. So when this was announced, I was actually kind of surprised that he was in the running, let alone actually chosen to do this movie. But I mean, the guy has proven time and time again, he can handle movies with massive scales and huge big budget productions. And I feel like he's a great choice to direct a Bond movie. He's also been like a genre chameleon, with, Blade Runner and Dune and Arrival and Prisoners and Blade Runner. I mean, the guy can just kind of do any sort of genre and just nail it. So I think he can absolutely do a Bond movie. But I think this is more so going to hinge on who they cast as James Bond more than anything. I mean, this has kind of been up in the air for a long time. We don't know who they're going to choose. There's been all these people that seem like they're favorites, but they're not favorites, and just controversy surrounding all of that. But then I think the only thing that really concerns me is that he doesn't have final cut on the movie, which they made pretty clear, which I think was a big reason why Nolan didn't sign on, because they wanted him originally, I think. And so, Villeneuve doing this, obviously he wants to direct a Bond movie, but, he had to kind of give that away. So I'm kind of curious, like when they have final cut, are they going to like neuter his movie and make it more commercial than it is like, I don't know, narratively appealing that like I know he can deliver. So that's the only thing that concerns me. But overall, I'm pretty amped about this one.
Yeah. Who do you guys want for Bond? I think we talked about this before, but I can't remember. I think
did we talk about this?
Maybe not on here, but I feel like if we could get a not white guy, that'd be great.
Honestly, when they were when they've been floating Aaron Pierre, that'd be fucking great. Like
Aaron Pierre.
He's the guy from Rebel Ridge.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and he's also going to be in Lanterns as well too this time next year.
Like unbelievably like incredible performer that like has like magnetism in spades, and like if they went that route and did like a non-traditional Bond, I think he would be amazing. And I think he's like right in that age bracket where if you're trying to find a new Bond that's going to be, for multiple movies, I think he'd be your guy. But of course, everyone wants the traditional white guy, so I'm sure it's probably going to end up going that route.
Just don't make a lady Bond. I'm sorry, unless you have a significant reason to do so or it makes sense. Like I hate when they gender swap just to do it for fun. It doesn't make any sense to me. So sorry, I'm on. I
mean, if they were going the more traditional route, who would you pick?
I don't know. I still want what's his face as Bond, which I can't remember his name now. He was in the Sound of Music. Jesus, the movie where he goes deaf and he's a drummer.
The Sound of Metal.
Riz Ahmed.
Yes, Riz Ahmed. I know it's a wild pick, but you know what?
Interesting. Okay.
He's handsome, he's suave, he's British, and he's not white.
Yeah, but also on top of that too, I mean, Bond, as he's written in the books as well too, he's almost like Dexter of the spy franchise. Like he's one of those people that he can't turn off that killing mentality. And I'm like, I can totally see Riz Ahmed pulling that off. So that's actually not a bad choice.
Mm-hmm. I know he hasn't done much, so he's not a big name right now, but I remember him seeing the Sound of Metal. I was like, oh, he's freaking amazing.
Yeah. How about you, Andres? Do you have a pick in mind?
I don't necessarily have a flat out pick. I just know who I don't want. That's the thing.
Who do you not
Glenn
want?
Powell. Oh my God.
I don't want Glenn Powell. I don't want Tom Hardy. I don't want Jacob Elordi as well. It's one of those things where honestly, give me sort of the unobvious choice. That's what I love about the pick of Craig was that Craig was not on anyone's list whatsoever in terms of being Bond. I mean, I don't know how much of it that you guys remember from way back in 2006, but there was a giant petition out there to basically have him removed as Bond the second that he was announced, notmybond.com or something like that. And the fan base was crazy about it. They were like, we're not going to give this movie a chance until they saw the trailer. And then they were like, all right, this might turn out just fine.
Yeah, I also don't want Aaron Taylor Johnson.
God, I don't want that either. But I will say the one thing with Bond, he has to be British, probably in his 30s, but not someone that's relatively well known. You know what I mean? Not someone that is taking over a role. I know it's been floated around that Henry Cavill is a strong choice.
He's too old now.
No,
yeah. I think he's too old by this point, sadly enough. But
honestly, back in the day, I remember my favorites was I felt like Henry Cavill could have been a great Bond. I think when he was younger, Clive Owen would have been an incredible Bond. I think Tom Hardy, when he was much younger, could have been a great Bond. If you ever saw the movie Legend where he plays twins, he had this Bond thing going for him that I was like, whoa, okay, he could probably be an incredible Bond. But nowadays, I'm even just trying to think who could fit that bill. But honestly, I'm more so open to give me someone I'm not even thinking of even remotely. That's why Daniel Craig was such a big surprise. Everyone hated when he was first announced, and then as soon as Casino Royale came out, they're like, holy shit. I remember I think the best headline I saw, at the time was Bond goes blonde.
That was the thing.
Yeah, so everyone was fixating on the hair and just how weird casting it was. But honestly, I would say at this point he's probably arguably the most beloved Bond, or the one that's I think had the most cultural impact since his run ended. I mean, yeah, you could say Sean Connery or any of the other Bonds, but I honestly feel he's had the biggest mainstay where he's my Bond essentially because I grew up with Daniel Craig. I think I was at the tail end of the Brosnan area when I first got into Bond.
Brosnan is my favorite Bond, but I will say Craig has sort of the fact that he is the only Bond to have a succession of movies that all follow one plot thread, which we've never had in a Bond movie ever. So I think that was probably one of many different things that made Craig very special in that era.
I also feel his era actually humanized Bond more than any other era, where it finally made him feel human, where it actually explored his past and he became more emotional and vulnerable. And then when he was angry, he was really fucking angry. It was just he felt like the most human Bond, which is that's the thing I'm going to miss, I think, most from that era. I hope that they carry that over a little bit with this reboot, but we'll see. But anyway, Denis Villeneuve directing a Bond movie. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But shifting gears now to some trailers that we have. We have a couple big ones that hit the internet in the past few weeks. First being the highly anticipated sequel to Wicked, Wicked for Good, which hits theaters this November. Sequel to that smash hit from last year. What do we think about this new trailer? Are we excited, especially after seeing the first movie, or are we just kind of more in the same boat? Let's start with you, Andres, this time.
Yeah, so Wicked was probably one of the biggest surprises of last year for me. I mean, I remember when we talked about that first trailer, we were like, it looks so overly produced, over CG'd.
Fast forward to us all loving it.
and then we're all like, you know what? That didn't matter because we all bought into the universe and they did a great job in terms of transporting us into that musical. And the musical elements were actually really strong. Now, going into Wicked Part 2, the thing that concerns me about Wicked Part 2 is that it is, by every account that I've heard from all Wicked fans, is that this is actually the least favorite part of everyone's experience with the Wicked movie or with the Wicked play. So it's one of those things where it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt what is considerably the lamer part of the play. But in terms of everything I saw in this trailer, everything looks at home is what I'm trying to say, is where it's like everything looks great. Everything looks as high quality as it did the last time. I'm fully prepared that they're going to give us at least a great close off to the series. I'm hoping we get an original song created specifically for this movie, which, when you cast someone like Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Yeah, Cynthia Erivo as your two leads, like you could have created an original song right there that would have been something that the Oscars would have considered, but also something new for Wicked fans. But yeah, now honestly, I'm really excited for the second part. I hope it turns out well, and everything looks like it's all coming back home.
Nancy.
So I liked the first part of Wicked. I don't think I liked it as much as everyone else did. I feel like everyone was like, oh, it's life-changing, and I was crying by the end, and I didn't really have that much of an emotional attachment. Now, granted, I had never seen the play. I knew nothing about it, so maybe that's why. I still was pleasantly surprised. It's very heavy on the songs. I think, in fact, who I went to go see it with, they went to the bathroom, came back, and like literally nothing had happened because it was just one song that kept going, and the song didn't really like push the plot forward. So I think that was kind of one of my issues with the movie. But I am looking forward to this one because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't realize it ties into the actual movie of Wizard of Oz. I thought it was kind of its own thing. So I'm curious how it all wraps up with, because in the beginning they say that she's dead and, all this, and then you see the Cowardly Lion. So that part I'm excited to see how it all ties together. And I think it'll be good, but I don't know. Again, Wicked, the first part didn't really blow my mind. So I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first movie was like a pleasant surprise for me. I really didn't expect to like it nearly as much as I did, but I had a really good time with it. And I mean, I saw the play back when I was in like 6th grade, so I remember basically nothing from it. Like, I think the only thing I remember was the Defying Gravity like song right before the intermission, where like she gets like super huge and inflated. I was like, that's the only thing I remember from the entire play. So I have no idea what happens in the second part because I don't remember it. So I'm excited to see, like Nancy said, how they tie it into the Wizard of Oz and how it wraps up the story. But what I'm really excited about in this trailer is that it looks a lot more colorful and vibrant compared to the first film. Not that the first film didn't have its share of color or vibrancy, but it just feels like they're, I don't know, embracing more of that musical visual aesthetic, I think, this time around, which I think I'm really excited for. And Erivo and Grande look fantastic again. I mean, that a little glimpse of that scene on the rooftop where they're kind of reuniting after like not seeing each other for a while is great. There seems to be more of a emotional undercurrent for the story where, characters are in much different places now, and the story is a little bit more intense and engaging. So I'm really excited to see the second part. I think that it's a play that really does feel cinematic, being brought to the silver screen. So I'm excited for this one. I think this could be especially if they nail the second part, it'd be a nice double feature that I'm sure they'll put in theaters or do like a sing-along version, or whatever they do to milk as much money as they can out of it. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I was actually shocked by how much footage we saw here, considering this was the first trailer. So clearly, they're well into the post-production process and nearing the conclusion, most likely, if they're showing off this much footage already. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a good treat come Thanksgiving time. So I'm into it. But speaking of another big trailer that was released this past couple of weeks, we had our trailer for the remake of The Running Man from director Edgar Wright, starring Glenn Powell. And what do we think of this trailer? Let's start with you, Nancy. Are we excited about this one? Did we see the Arnie movie from back in the day?
So I haven't seen the original, and watching this trailer, I'm like, I feel confused because this, I get the plot, but I don't know if the tone is severely different than the original, and it's supposed to be that way, but it feels very Hunger Games-ish and very not cheesy, but I don't know. It feels, the tone feels weird for what the plot is, I guess is the best way to put it. I absolutely love that we have Coleman Domingo in here.
Yes,
he's incredible in this trailer. Oh my God.
Glenn Powell, I obviously love, and then we get Michael Cera randomly in this too. Good for him. So it looks fun and it looks exciting. The tone was a little bit weird for me. So I don't know if seeing the original would help out, or this is completely different and it's just more of a fun, zany version of the original. But it looks like a fun time. I just think I need time to wrap my head around what the tone is supposed to be here. And I don't know. The trailer kind of threw me off a little bit, if that makes sense.
All right. Andres, what are we feeling?
Yeah, so I did watch the original Running Man as a kid. It is a very cheesy product of its time 80s movie. And this one feels very much different in the sense that they went back to the original source material and they tried to make it a little more faithful to what the chase of the Running Man is. Granted, there's certain things here and there that they've definitely changed up for a modern audience today, which is primarily the whole aspect of the reality TV angle, which was a very important part of the original, but it feels more, for lack of a better word, more plausible and realistic with how insane things are getting, where it's like all these cameras are chasing Glenn Powell and tracking him all the way through as freaking people are trying to collect on a bounty. Now, here's the thing is the tone, for me, it's exactly what I expect from an Edgar Wright movie. And honestly, I'm very excited for this movie. I mean, I feel like the energy is really up. And to answer your question as well, too, Nancy, Hunger Games, Hunger Games was inspired by The Running Man. There's so many nods and so many things that the Hunger Games had to thank for The Running Man, in particular Stephen King, for even coming up with this concept originally. But yeah, no, it feels very similar, and it feels very Battle Royale as well, too. But
especially with Coleman Domingo and his, it was very Caesar Flickerman.
He's my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So, the tone looks great. I mean, for me, the energy looks up. And honestly, Edgar Wright has never really missed for me. Even the movies that people have kind of gone, maybe it wasn't his best. I still find there's so much craft and so much really great stuff in his movies that it gets me excited to see what his version of The Running Man is. And also just knowing that we have all these weird periphery characters pop up alongside Glenn Powell. And, again, my favorite part of the trailer is basically Michael Cera with the squirt gun, shooting the electrified floor. And I'm like, all right, we're really going for it this time. All right. So honestly, I'm very excited for this movie.
When he talked about the electrified floor scene, I think I forget which movie I saw recently, but the trailer was playing before the movie and that scene came up, and some guy behind me, it just made me laugh so hard. He whispers to his friend, "That's not how fucking science works."
What?
I was like, what? He's like, that's completely implausible, ridiculous. I was like, oh
Yeah, it's a movie, guys.
I was like, dude, shut up and eat your damn Skittles.
Oh yeah, it's also not even the fact that like a grenade doesn't take 10 seconds for it to go off for people to have 2 lines of dialogue with each other. He's like, I got a grenade, boom, back at you. No, that thing would have blown up so long ago, guys. I mean, come on, if we're gonna get into the implausibility of things, just don't come see the movie, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that made me laugh. It was a real treat. But anyway, I really like this trailer a lot. I'm a huge Edgar Wright fan. I think, like Andres, I don't think he's really missed for me. Even my least favorite movie of his, which I think is like The Last Night in Soho, I still think there's a lot about it that I really love. I mean, the filmmaking in and of itself is just amazing and the performances are great. But I'm really excited for this one because it feels like that classic Edgar Wright energy and his filmmaking style, which is always just so fun, kinetic, and just like so infectious. And then you have Glenn Powell, who's just perfect for that tone. And looks like he's having a blast being in this movie. Same with Coleman Domingo, who just put a huge freaking smile on my face anytime he was in this trailer. Josh Brolin's there too. I mean, the cast is really terrific. And I just love the whole vibe. Yes, it's very Hunger Gamesy. And then it seems like it's kind of just taking little things from other properties, even though, the original novel came out years and years ago. So who knows who stole, what this thing from that thing. But I'm in. Like, it looks like a really fun time at the movies. And since I never saw the Arnie movie, I don't really have any attachment to that. So it kind of feels new and fresh for me, at least. And yeah, I'm just excited for a new Edgar Wright movie. It's been so long. So it's great to see him back with a new movie. So yeah, count me in. I'm amped.
It's going to be a great weekend at the movies for that week because that's going to be the same weekend that Predator Badlands comes out.
Let's go.
So we're going to get 2 chase movies, guys.
Yeah, dude, I'm amped for that one. Every time I see the trailer, I'm just getting so amped, especially after seeing, what was it, Killer of Killers, the animated movie that they came out with, which I'm like, dude, give Trachtenberg just every Predator, like, just product going forward. The guy just gets it. He somehow has revitalized this creature in a way that I don't think anyone else could, but that's neither here nor there now. But it's time for the main event, people. The one I've been really excited to talk about with you guys. We finally have Superman hitting theaters this weekend, probably the biggest movie this summer. And we're going to be talking about it in depth, spoiler heavy. So if you have not seen this movie, you're probably going to want to stop listening to or watching this episode. Come on back after you've seen it. Or if you just don't care about being spoiled, you can listen, watch the rest of this. That's pretty cool. So we're going to be talking about the movie. We're going to give our general thoughts first, and then we're going to dive into some spoiler territory. So generally, guys, I'll start with you, Nancy. Going into the movie, were you excited, not excited? Were you kind of a little bit hesitant after the last output of Superman? What were you feeling, especially going into this movie?
I think I was on the fence. It looked, even with the trailer, honestly, it looked much better than the other Superman movies we've gotten. I feel like those were just so... those were just such a disappointment. Seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, seems like we're getting on a good track here. I will say it didn't meet my expectations, unfortunately. Sorry, Andres. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I feel like it was very jam-packed with a lot of stuff, and it didn't have time to breathe in some moments. We got a very fantastic Superman, but I think we got a decent Clark Kent. And also, his Clark Kent persona we barely saw in the movie, and I wish we would have gotten a little bit more of that. I also feel like Lois Lane was pretty good. For me, the highlight, honestly, was Lex Luthor. I think Nicholas Hoult did an amazing job. And I love that we got a Lex Luthor that really highlighted him not just being rich. And I feel like a lot of the other movies were like, he's a smart guy, but he's rich, and that's how he gets these things done. And with Nicholas Hoult, it felt like they took the time to be like, oh no, he is a genius. He uses that throughout the whole movie. So I really liked his character. I'm sorry, I hated the people they got to play his parents. Like, it did not work for me at all.
Wow, all right, guys, where's the leave button? No,
sorry. I think overall it was a solid movie. Again, I just think it was a little bit too jam-packed for me.
Okay. Shifting gears to Andres, who's in tears.
Yeah. So coming into this movie, keep in mind, guys, I've been on this planet for at least 35 years. So that is a lot of Superman movies to have been excited for and to come out and just go, yeah, didn't really hit the mark on that one, and being so excited. So honestly, I was very excited for this, but cautious that, you know what, maybe it might not be the movie that you want it to be. And I remember coming out of it, and this is the first time in my entire life that I've walked out of a Superman movie that wasn't a Chris Reeve Superman movie that I went, that is the character on screen for me. That is my Superman. Finally, I've gotten him. And the other thing, too, is that while this is not a perfect movie whatsoever, this to me feels like the movie that us comic book fans, we really needed in this day and this time, in terms of just a symbol of hope and a symbol of brightness and some optimism in the world as well too. And for a movie to really get out all those themes and really get out all those really, really heady subject matters, this is something where I feel that the movie really does excel at, even though it does pack quite a bit in and it's very dense. Like, honestly, still at the end of the day, I came out of this movie with a massive smile on my face, and I cannot wait to see what this universe has in stock, because of the fact that I loved Corin Sweat as Superman and his Clark Kent. And also I loved Rachel Brosnahan as well too, as Lois. And then Lex Luthor was freaking fantastic in this as well. But also just all the periphery characters all around. I love the fact that we got to see the Daily Planet as its own working thing, and that it's not a throwaway thing that, it wasn't valid in a Superman movie. It was like, no, they play an integral part in terms of everything coming together at the very end. And I thought the tone was really great. I very much disagree with you that that Ma and Partha Kent, Nancy, was not good. In fact, they were probably some of my favorite part of the movie as well. And the moment that Clark has with his dad as well is one of those moments that just always kind of brought a tear to my eye in the 2 times that I've seen it already. I'm probably going to go see it the 3rd time after we're done wrapping this, guys. So honestly, for all its flaws and for anything that might be considered too comic booky, this movie really delivered in so many respects, and I really enjoyed the ever-loving hell out of this movie. It felt like a comic book on screen. It felt like, you know what, if you don't get all the references, or if you don't get everything right off the bat in this one, I'm pretty sure the next movie that is not even a Superman movie will, blend out more of that universe and will actually deliver more on that promise. But in terms of what this means for DC, for the DC studios so far, it's a very promising start. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what Gunn has in stock. And also, I just can't wait to see this movie again. Like, I really, really, really loved it. Flaws and all.
Okay, so you thought it was okay. All right. So, I mean, I really enjoy the Superman character, but safe to say it's been all over the map in terms of quality when it comes to these movies. I mean, even the Chris Reeve run, you had some amazing ones, then you had some not so amazing ones. And then just there's been so many iterations of this character, but I was really looking forward to this one because it looked like such a drastic change of pace compared to the Zack Snyder Man of Steel that was portrayed by Henry Cavill. And I really just wanted to see a fun, unapologetically, comic book movie on the big screen and just have a really good time with it. And that's why, I'm so happy to say I had a blast with this movie. It's not perfect. I still have my issues with it, but those issues are so overshadowed by everything I loved about this movie. I mean, I really do think David Corenswet is a pitch perfect Superman. I mean, he just, not only does he look the part, but he just embodies that part so wonderfully in terms of the personality and the aura, the charisma, the vulnerability, which was so great to see in this movie. This, being 3 years into being Superman, the relationship with Lois Lane, I think, is, again, pitch perfect. I think Rachel Brosnahan's a great Lois, a huge upgrade over Amy Adams, who was given nothing to do in that role in those
sadly
movies.
Enough.
Seriously, great actors given a horribly underwritten character, but they have great chemistry. Skylar Gassando is Jimmy Olsen, fantastic. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, one of my favorite Lex Luthors by far and away. Probably my favorite movie Lex Luthor by far and away. I think he just gets it. And I love how he's an egotistical narcissist that knows he's an egotistical narcissist. And also that his intellect and showing how his wealth fuels that intellect is really interesting in this movie. And, he really kind of whoops Superman around, and, he kind of has the upper hand for a good majority of the movie. So to see, Superman go toe to toe with the villain who really kind of has his number for most of the movie was really fun to watch. And Holt was relishing every second. I loved him in the movie. To think that he was actually up for Superman is wild to me because he works so well as Lex. And just even the supporting characters, I think Nathan Fillion nailed Guy Gardner, 100%. Like he was fantastic. Isabel, what's her last name? Mersad, who was Hawkgirl. She was great, but Eddie Gathegi, who played Mr. Terrific, almost stole the movie for me. I loved him in this movie. And I think the addition of the Justice Gang was really cool, even though, again, it felt like they were a little bit, short-sighted in this movie in terms of they didn't get a ton to do. And also I feel like they almost kind of needed their own movie before maybe being in this one. But overall, I just love the vibe. I love the emotion of this film. It definitely made me tear up a few times, but it felt like such a joyful experience. And I really loved it. I've seen it twice as well. And I enjoyed it even more the second time because those problems I had just weren't as big of an issue the second go around. It just puts a huge smile on my face. So I loved it. But let's talk spoilers, people. Let's talk about the things we liked, maybe things we didn't like, some of our favorite aspects, least favorite aspects of the movie. So we'll start with you, Nancy. What were the big highlights for you? Maybe some scenes, some character stuff that you really loved that stood out to you?
Well, I think going back to Nicholas Hoult, I like the fighting scenes because it was like he was playing chess, literally. He was calling out I don't know. Well, that sounds more like
1A.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds more like Battleship, actually. But yeah, 1A, B10, and
no, I want the 1A.
Yeah.
but I love the added element of that. His very first command, 1A, is basically just a punch to the face. That was where his mind went to immediately when coming up with all those commands. 1A is a punch. That's it.
But the fact that he studied him and found what works against him and used that and used his technology and his money to fuel that, I think was great. I feel like again in a lot of other movies we just got that it was more that he was just a rich guy that happened to be smart, and I love that they blended the two together really well in this movie. And of course, the doggy. He's so cute.
Crypto, crushing it.
I love that he was just a hot mess of just not trained, kind of a spoiled, dog, just all over the place. I love that he was just wild and unruly. And of course, we find out that it's not actually his dog. It's his cousin's dog. Super woman or lady or whatever you want to call her.
Yeah, that's been, honestly, I will say the discourse, especially on Twitter for this movie, has been so nauseatingly bad that it's genuinely just turned me off from just social media. It's just, especially the Supergirl stuff, some stuff with Clark's parents and their whole video message thing. It's just been just tiresome.
But honestly, why go on social media when it's all a bunch of raving monkeys just typing super shit, guys? Could we all just acknowledge for a split second that they basically just said that Lex is Elon Musk in this movie? I was holy shit, they're going down that road without inadvertently saying it, but I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Super shit. You know how much that one irritates me. Yeah, I mean, I love that whole scene between him and Lois of her interviewing him. I thought that was a great scene. Really showed their chemistry, but also really showed kind of Clark's naivety, when it comes to being Superman and not really thinking through the ramifications of his actions, just trying to do good, trying to save people's lives and not understanding why people have a problem with that. I just thought it was a really great way of showing his character, what he stands for, what he believes in, and kind of things that he doesn't see and things that he does see really well. So just, I love that how Lois kind of grounds him a little bit. It's look, I understand you're doing these good things, but you also have to think about the optics of it all. So it was very interesting, back and forth. I really love that scene.
Yeah. And I love the fact that we finally got a Lois that challenges him in so many respects and challenges him in terms of his ideology. And also not necessarily in a way where it feels sort of the typical thing that we've gotten in other superhero movies where it sort of feels oh, you're putting the world in front of me and that's kind of why I don't like you right now. But it's one of those things where it's she has a completely different viewpoint of the world from, the fact is that, she grew up as a as a military kid, and she's very 10 steps ahead of everything. And Clark is one of those people that is in the moment, only does what he feels he should do at that point. And when you take those two personalities, they're not going to mesh 100%. So I love the fact that throughout most of the movie, there was a lot of friction between the two. And then by the time you get to the end, the love story feels so earned, and it feels so realistic in terms of these are two people that probably are not probably going to last unless they do a ton of work with each other. And I feel like they're on the path with that. So I really dug that particular personification of that relationship. And I found it more deeper than even the Brandon Routh, Kate Bosworth stuff, or even, as we said before, the Amy Adams, Henry Cavill stuff in the past. So yeah, I thought the relationship was a really big, strong point for the movie as well.
And I'm glad we got it where it's like already developed and not this whole thing where, she doesn't know that he's Superman. And then we have to go through all that. And I like that they just jumped into it right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I really, really loved the aspect of the Justice Gang already knowing that Clark is Superman, and how Lois finds out, where it's just like, oh my God. So wait, not saying that I know he has hypno glasses, but if he did, how would I go about finding this person? And I thought it was really great that all of a sudden that scene just caps off with the fact he's like, God, why does he trust everybody? Just seeing how like pessimistic she is. And she's like, oh, these three people that he hardly has a relationship with, they know his biggest secret as well. So I really dug that aspect as well. Oh my goodness. But all right. So the big thing that I want to discuss with both of you guys as well is the aspect of Jor-El being quote unquote evil, for lack of a better word, and sending Superman and Clark on a invasion mission for Earth. I don't know. What do you guys think of that in particular before I give my thoughts?
Well, first of all, I hated that it was Bradley Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
I just why does that have to be Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, I will say that was a little distracting.
Yeah. But I thought it was that they. Are you saying that how? What do we think about it as terms of the plot of the movie? Because also, just to clarify, Lex Luthor tampered that, right? It wasn't actually what he said, or is that actually?
I don't know. Look, see, this is my theory. I feel like they I think they heavily allude to the fact that it's been tampered with.
Okay, yeah,
that's the way I saw it. Because literally, they there's a whole scene where they do almost like a little mini recap where yeah, Lex did this and he twisted this and he twisted that. Mm-hmm. So it's just why wouldn't he corrupt that footage and make it what he wants it to be, especially when he has this person who can not only access a Kryptonian server, but also could probably tweak some fucking video and, twist it to suit his purposes. So I never really bought it as it being legit, especially since I know the kind of character Lex is. So I would not be surprised if in a future movie, it's shown that he actually fiddled with that footage and that his parents actually were what he thought they were. But I think I like the way it was in the story of how it made Clark think about, okay, well, what do I believe in now? If my parents were like this, is everything that I've done up to this point a lie? Was it the wrong thing to do? I'm not a monster, but they seem like they are, or anything. I like that it helped him examine himself, but also realize that, him being where he is, being raised the way he was, meeting the people he has, that's turned him into a man that he's proud of, and that, it doesn't matter what his, parents said in that second half of the message. He believes in what he believes in. And I thought that was, I feel like that was effective. So it didn't really bother me all that much, mainly because I think Lex fucked with it, but that's just my theory.
Yeah, no, I thought the same thing too. And I do like that he took a moment to be like, well, it doesn't really matter because this is what my ideals and beliefs were because of how I grew up. And this is where I'm at now. It doesn't mean that I'm going to, all of a sudden try and rule over Earth or anything like that. Yeah. No, of course, obviously the people aren't going to believe that, and that causes an issue.
Yeah, but the internet is fucking furious about this.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things that for me, whether or not Jor-El is evil or not, really kind of doesn't make a difference to me because
Yeah,
I don't think
me.
I don't think, because here's the thing. I know for a fact for myself, when Jonathan Kent turned out to be, the Kevin Costner version where he's like, maybe you should let that bus full of kids die. I was like, that is not necessarily the dialogue that comes out of a person who raises Superman. You know what I mean? Like that comes from someone who's more of a Homelander more than anything else. So so to explain sort of why so many people are like, well, you didn't have a problem with it when it was Jor-El, but you had a massive problem when they made Jonathan Kent a little morally ambiguous. And I'm like, yeah, because Jonathan Kent is the person that raises Superman, and he's the fulcrum of his entire morality. So, if you mess with Jonathan Kent, you fuck with that character entirely. And the thing is that I don't necessarily think that the footage was fake, but I do think that the footage is still in bits and pieces and we don't have the full message. So, in this day and age, we can also see like the damage that even just taking one thing out of context or taking a small little sentence out of something can completely distort a message in its entirety in this day and age. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they retcon it later on where it's like the video is damaged. We don't have the full video. And then here's what the full video is whatsoever. And it completely changes everything. But if we don't have that, I'm totally fine with it. I mean, honestly, when it ended by the end, I love the fact that Clark really settled on the notion that, you know what, Jonathan and Martha are his actual parents. They're the ones that shaped him. They're the ones that really brought him to this point. Like, that has always been the major difference between Superman and so many other characters, is that Superman is who he is because of the Kents. And I love the fact that finally we have a Superman movie where they don't just go, oh, what do we do with Jonathan Kent? Let's kill him. I love the fact that we actually got him to stay, and that
I appreciate that.
He's going to serve a bigger purpose. I mean, not even a bigger purpose, but he's going to be around. Like that is to be like, so many people go, oh, well, you had to kill Jonathan Kent at some point. It's like, he's still alive in the comics. It's only the movies where they kill him off.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that scene with Clark and his dad, it made me tear up both times I watched it. It was just like such a great scene. Like you really see that he was raised by great parents and then had this amazing upbringing. And I love that they maintain the fact that like Clark, even though he's Superman, is still like a dork. And I love that so much. Like literally like when Krypto just like destroys the Fortress of Solitude, she's like, Krypto, what the hey, man? like he doesn't even want to curse, or like when he's in the middle of battle, he's like, good gosh. And I'm like, oh my God, this is such a farm boy. I was like, I love it. Like it felt so like quintessentially Superman, and Corn Sweat just nailed it.
Oh yeah, and even the moments where like the Justice Gang is taking down the Kaiju, he's like, "Come on, guys!" Like he's having that moment where he's like, "Yeah," he's like having that moment. He's like rescuing everybody, and he's like,
the squirrel thing. I love that.
That's cute.
Oh, that was so cute. And it makes me laugh so much that for the longest time, when people were looking at the set photos of him rescuing the squirrel, everyone thought it was a Green Lantern, which there is a Green Lantern that turns out to be a squirrel. And the internet was like, oh my God, are we gonna get that Green Lantern? It's like, guys, just slow down a little bit, right?
It's a squirrel.
Yeah, it's a squirrel. And it made a really great moment though. But oh man, but I also love the added moment of him trying to at least get the dog to safety as well too, and him using the super breath as well. And you can almost just kind of feel like the same frustration that he has with Krypto. He's just like, but I can't go nearly as hard with him, and I have to be like, sort of a little more careful with this dog. Yeah, so yeah, I thought all that stuff with him as sort of having the farm boy aspect come out of him more, but also just even his final scene with Lex and his big monologue where he's like, listen, I'm as human as you are. All right. I put one step forward and I try my best and I make mistakes and I get scared. And I'm like, oh man, that is so quintessential. Just like Grant Morrison Superman. I loved it so much.
No, I love that. And I also love that, like during that scene with Lois, where, he's like, all right, I'm going to go try to find crypto. And, he's like, he's not a very good dog, but, he's alone out there and he's probably scared. It's like, it was just like, that's Superman, man. Like, that's Superman.
Yeah. And it's not even his dog either. When you look at it at the end of the day, it was like, oh man, like again, no one life is more important than the other. And like, I just love that they kept that aspect all throughout the movie. And even so with, when he like the first thing that he does when he enters the pocket universe and he exits, his first mentality is, I need to go back in. I need to save all the people that are still trapped in there. And that to me really, really spelled out a lot about his character in particular. So I just love that little element. And yeah, it was great. I mean, Corn Sweat is such a great Superman, guys.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of Superman, what do we think of the visuals, the action set pieces? I mean, that's kind of the big thing to, discuss here. Like, what do we like the look and feel of them? Did they feel wonderfully comic booky? Were they, embarrassingly bad? Like, what do you guys think?
I think in particular, this is actually I was waiting to let you go, Nancy.
Nancy did the end user.
Yeah, no, I think the movie visually looked really great, really bright, and it was exactly what I picture a Frank Quietly screen looking like, and a Frank Quietly piece of artwork looking like. And so honestly, I had no problem with the cinematography. I had no problem with the way it looked. I know certain people are like, it looks a little cheap, it looks a little overly CG'd at points, but that I think that's the point of Superman, is that it looks overly bright, so much so to the point where it looks sort of, a little too different, if that makes sense. But I loved it. I loved the way it looked. And I forget who the cinematographer was, but I know that he shot also The Flash too, which this looks leaps and bounds far more better than The Flash and more better choreographed than The Flash, I think. And honestly, I just really loved all the action set pieces and how diverse they were. I mean, come on. We have Superman fighting a superpowered being. We have him fighting a kaiju at one point. We also have him just fighting so many of the Luthor drones, and it all is so radically different from each other, and it all looks great. And honestly, it was so fantastic. And then the flying scenes as well too, especially the one in the opening, I thought was really well done and really felt like, how they always say, like, it feels like drone footage. It feels like a flying sequence that we have not seen in a Superman movie still to this day, where we're actually in his point of view, and it doesn't feel like we're an outsider trying to catch up with him the way Snyder loved to do it way back when the day, which looked great for the time, but I personally love the way it looks now. So yeah, honestly, I love the look. I love the action scenes. Everything was fantastic on that scale.
I think for the most part, it looked good. Definitely the flying scenes look way better than the other movies we've gotten, I feel like. I do think there were some moments where it just didn't look quite great. Like I don't know what it was, like not a river, but it's the
proton thing.
Yeah. Like that thing. It kind of felt like it was supposed to look not, I don't know, kind of cheesy, but yeah, that part didn't quite work. And then some of the other like creatures and stuff didn't quite work for me, but I think overall it was fine.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I really liked how the action sequences looked. And I was a little bit hesitant because I hated the way the Flash looked. so I was like, oh shit, the same cinematographer. I was like, okay. But I was genuinely happy with how this movie looked. I really, really loved the flying sequences. It really felt like Andre said, like you were with Superman, just like flying right alongside him, or feeling like you're in his point of view, where it just like, it felt pretty breathtaking, especially like the opening, which just felt so wonderfully dynamic and like fast paced and fun. And the whole movie kind of keeps that tone. It's a very fast moving movie. But all the action, I mean, this is like a super powered human being. Like there's only, you can only make it look so realistic before you have to use CG in order to really sell the character. But I think the CGI for the most part looks really solid. And that's what happens when you give visual effects artists enough time to freaking work, and that's something that James Gunn's a huge proponent of. And I think that's why for the most part, the special effects look fantastic in this movie. There are, some scenes where some additional work maybe could have been done, but I do think overall in the whole, especially considering how much special effects are in this movie, I think it looks pretty freaking phenomenal for what they had to do. And I never really enjoyed the way Superman is looked and felt more so than I did here. I mean, just the whole climax of the movie just feels so wonderfully comic booky, especially when he's taking out Luther's drones and he's going up against the, bizarro version of himself, essentially, which I thought was really fun. And it's just, James Gunn has clearly embraced the source material. He wanted this movie to look and feel like a living, breathing comic book movie, and it shows in every frame and character interaction. So that's why I really love the whole vibe of this movie and why I think it's such a refreshing change of pace compared to like the Snyder version of the character. It's just like a complete 180 in the best way possible, I think, personally, which the internet will hate us for, but I don't care because I think this is like my kind of favorite version of Superman post-Reeve by far and away. So I really love the action in this movie. I think it's going to really be a big treat for fans who want to see something on the big screen. Definitely a great big screen movie.
Yeah, definitely a great IMAX movie in particular. So, see it on the biggest screen possible because those action scenes really do soar, for lack of a better word, on a bigger screen.
Oh, you've been waiting to say that.
Oh, yeah.
You've been waiting to say that. I mean, really the only big issue I have with this movie is that it moves too fast sometimes, where I feel like Nancy hinted at before that it doesn't slow down enough in order to give certain characters time to breathe or to flesh out certain characters. It does feel overstuffed sometimes where there's so many characters introduced in this movie where you feel like, okay, maybe they could have been saved for a future movie or given, a movie before this, where it just kind of feels like, okay, they're here, but, they don't get to do all that much or they're not really fleshed out all that much. They're fun additions, but there's a lot of characters that get a little bit shortchanged. So I do hope that future films kind of maybe trim the fat a little bit and, focus more on some of those central characters so that we can get to know them better and get some more, character scenes that really kind of add that depth that we need. But I mean, like I said, it's a fast paced movie. It's never boring, but it definitely could have slowed down a little bit more here and there.
Agreed.
Yeah. And also the other thing too is like I said before, this is not a perfect movie, but for me, I kind of feel that a lot of the periphery characters do get shortchanged in terms of development. I mean, honestly, for as much as this character plays all throughout the movie, I thought the engineer was actually very underdeveloped. And I would have loved to have seen more from Perry White, actually. And even though all the scenes that he's great, he's great in all the scenes that he's in, I just wanted to see more of him. But I don't necessarily look at that as for Perry White's aspect, I don't look at that as more as a flaw and more of just like, hey, that was an element that I really loved and I can't wait to see more of him in the future. Maybe we are going to see more of him in the future. But yeah, I kind of feel like maybe there were, for myself, I think they were just enough characters, but the problem is for a regular audience, is it too much if you don't know who Guy Gardner is? If you don't know who Mr. Terrific is?
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, I've been saying Mr. Fantastic for so long because we're like literally 2 weeks away from Fantastic Four, guys. So that's all good. But knowing all these characters and who they are, I was more okay with how many of them appear. But it is a question of, if you're not a comic book fan, will it seem overwhelming at a certain point in time? So that is an element that I think is going to go against it for a little bit. And I mean, for anyone that's not a comic book reader, it is going to go against it. But for anyone who is, I think it's more just the way it works in the comic, where it's like, listen, you're only glimpsed at this one person and you'll maybe find out all about him in another comic or another movie or even another series going forward. Like, as much as Guy Gardner really does highlight certain elements of the movie as well, I'm personally waiting to see more of him in Lanterns and to see how, oh my God. And the fact that they have clearly established that Lanterns will be an R-rated type of TV series, it's great.
Aaron Pierre will be in that, Nancy. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Oh,
also, okay.
Yeah. I was about to say really quickly.
One day you guys will iron this out.
I was about to say really quickly. How'd you guys like the Peacemaker cameo?
That was such a good cameo.
That was funny. Yeah, that was very funny.
Also, what'd you guys think of the introduction of Supergirl? I know that's been another subject of controversy, of her just showing up to pick up crypto.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing is, I think it's a very different perspective for you, Andres, because you are such a comic book fan and you really like Superman. So for more casual watchers like me, it is a little bit much. And then, it kind of gets built up in the movie when you don't know who's going to show up, and then it's like, it's Supergirl. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool. It doesn't have as much of an effect on casual watchers. So I was like, oh, that's cool. But it was such a like very fast thing of like, oh, she's come pick up her dog. Okay, now she's gone. And she's also like a party girl for some reason. So
you'll find out.
so yeah, but that's what I mean is that like that has no significance on a casual watcher. So I think just again, slowing down the pace and like adding a little bit more or keeping it more vague, I think would help. But yeah, it was just kind of like felt more of like a throwaway moment than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the main issue is like, oh, why is she drunk? I'm like, well, then apparently, there's a whole comic book run where she's kind of this party girl, and there's like a reason why. So, yeah, but a lot of people, like casual viewers, don't know that. So like they're watching this like, why is she acting like a drunk girl? Why is she calling Superman bitch? Like why is this? It just seems like very jarring. So definitely an interesting little kind of addition there. But I liked it. I can't wait to see her version of the character. I think that'll be really interesting. I think she's a great choice. I think Gunn has just nailed the casting across the board, I think, which is something I've been really happy with. Like back when they were making all the announcements for every character, like every time there was an announcement, I was like, ooh, perfect. I was like right on the money. Like these are perfect castings. So, I mean, Gunn really knows how to cast a movie. And I feel like he definitely seems like a comic book reader. Seems like someone who really wants to honor these characters and have fun with them. So I was really, really happy with that. So yeah, just overall on the whole, like I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, there's problems that it has with it that I could definitely work out the kinks for a sequel. But as a Superman fan, I'm a happy camper here. It was definitely some of the most fun I've had in a theater all year. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was comic booky in all the best ways. So if I were to give it like a ranking out of 5 pints, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5 pints. I think it's a well above average superhero movie, put a huge smile on my face, see it on the big screen, have some fun with it. And I think you'll enjoy it. So that's me.
That's me.
That's me.
What was that show with Amanda Bynes?
The Amanda Show.
Yeah. No, but it started as a skit, I think, on all that and shit like that.
That's me.
Yeah. Anyways, nostalgia.
Enough about
yeah, I think overall it was a solid movie. It wasn't as spectacular as I thought it would be. Also, if we could get a Hispanic character that doesn't have to say some generic, stereotypical Spanish saying when they first appear on the screen, that would be great. I feel like we keep getting that, like every single time they're like, orale, or like some I forgot what she says exactly in the beginning, but I'm just like, there's other ways to show that someone is Hispanic and like proud of their heritage without giving these like very stereotypical sayings. And it just sounds, it just bugs me horribly. But I think I would give this a 3.5 pints.
Okay, that's higher than I thought you were going to give it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I didn't necessarily dislike a lot from the movie. It just wasn't as grandiose as I thought it would be. It wasn't as mind-blowing as I thought it would be.
Okay. Andres?
No, that's fair. And honestly, guys, so I know this is not a perfect movie, but you know what? At the end of the day, it didn't really.
I'm giving it 10 out of 5.
No, but here's the thing: is that like I understand people have had some problems with it for sure, but for me as a Superman fan, it's almost one of those things where it almost just feels like we've gotten so much shit over the past couple of years that it feels like a breath of fresh air when we get something that's even close to the character. But honestly, barring all that, I think that under James Gunn's direction and his very refreshing and bright and very humanistic take on Superman, and also with the action and the epic storytelling that's behind that, and combining that with celebrating the wacky charm of the comics and staying true to that character of Clark, for me, it is the Superman movie that we need right now. And it is a story that is very much rooted in hope. And honestly, I really dug this movie quite a bit. And, for me, I have to stay true to who I am. And I'm going to have to give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's not perfect. There are certain things that do keep it from being the 5. And I'm also very stingy on giving a 5. But this is one of those few times that as a comic book movie watcher and a comic book reader as well, I've not felt this way about a comic book movie since The Dark Knight, or even before that, Sam Raimi's very first Spider-Man movie. So I absolutely really, really enjoyed the movie quite a bit. So
what about the Batman, man?
But the Batman was one of those that I was like, you know what? It's really damn good, but I don't know. I kind of felt more of a connection with this movie, and I kind of feel like the human elements work a little more better. But even though I absolutely loved the Batman.
All right.
Yeah.
I think you just like Superman. I
do.
I mean, if you couldn't tell by his shirt, cup, and Superman memorabilia,
everything in the background, right?
Jeez. But yeah, that's our take on Superman, guys. But let us know what your take is in the comments below. And also let us know what you think of the trailers for The Running Man and Wicked 2, what you think of Denis Villeneuve directing the next Bond movie. Let us know in the comment section below. But before we head on out, where can the fine people find you guys on the interwebs, Nancy?
Find me at PL_Band-Aid on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, you can find me in the comments here and every once in a while over on Cinemojis.
All right, Andres.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Galagos. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Galagos as well. And you can also find me on the Underrated Series YouTube page as well. We are just getting ready to put out our Metal Gear Solid 3 retrospective just in time for Delta coming out next month. So check that out as well. And also you can find me helping out our mutual friend Eric. Actually, it's Nancy's brother.
I was like, mutual friend.
Yeah, mutual. Well, he's a friend to all of us because he in some ways brought us all together. Right. But sure. But
also her brother.
Also more importantly her brother. But you can find me I actually helped out with a couple of their Reactorverse pop culture quizzes not too long ago. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say which one I helped out with, but you can find me there every now and again, just chiming in, keeping track of score. And then also you can find me editing our friend David Joy's Cinemojis episodes. And that's essentially where you can find me at, guys.
All right. And then you guys can find me on Facebook and YouTube at Chattelbash Reviews, Twitter and Instagram at Tom Chattelbash. And then you could also find me on Letterboxd at T Chattelbash if that's your thing. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the show. We appreciate it. Whether you listened to it or you watched it, we appreciate it greatly. And we will see you next time on Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.